Peace and love, fam. Hope you all are doing well. I wanted to share this reflection that came to me recently while in the yard training. As of late, I've been getting a lot of what I like to call deposits. Basically thoughts, ideas, revelations like this one. And outside of my wife and a few others, I haven't really shared many of these with anyone else. But now I'm sharing it with you guys because you guys are special. You really are. But seriously though, if you are watching, this may just be for you, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. Another thing too is, I believe I was led to share this because of the timing of it, which I promise you was not planned. I just released my first studio recorded song, right, as Mosheyahu, called Man After Your Own Heart. Again, I did not plan it this way at all. But I've learned when the Father does his thing, right, he lines it up in ways that we could never plan ourselves. So no more delays, let's get into it. So what does it really mean to be a man after Yah's own heart? And of course, though the scriptural phrase says a man after Yah's own heart, my sisters, we won't let that limit the scope of this conversation to men, right? It certainly applies to all of us. This isn't meant to be like some type of deep theological reflection. After all, I'm no scholar, just sharing a deposit that was given to me. And there are a million preachers and teachers online, and I do not have a desire or a leading at this time to be teacher 1,000,001, right? This is 100% anecdotal, but the understanding I have received from it has been so profound. My prayer is that it will bless you in some way and help you reflect on your own relationship with our Heavenly Father. So back to our question. What does it mean to be a man after Yah's own heart? I think I received the answer from my dog, Savannah. Please, before you click off, just hear me out, okay? Oh, and by the way, YouTube says that about 75% of you guys watching are not subscribed. My family, please hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it really helps us keep going, all right? Okay, so I know that there are countless studies and commentaries on this topic. My own understanding is this. David was called a man after Yah's own heart because in spite of his failures, he loved the Torah, aka the instructions of the Most High, or the law as it's commonly known, right? In other words, he desired above all else to do the Father's will. In fact, the longest chapter in the scriptures is Psalms 119, written by David, and it is filled with his love for Yah's Torah. In Psalms 19:7, he writes, "The law of Yah is perfect, reviving the soul." David loved Yah's Torah, meaning he loved Yah's will. Despite his failures, his heart was fixed on doing it. And that reminds me of the Messiah's prayer, "Not my will, but yours be done." That surrender is the foundation of what it means to be after Yah's heart, a soul that desires above all else to do his will. At least that's my view on it, right? But my dogs have given me another perspective, not replacing this one, but just adding to it. And again, it may not fit anyone else's theology, but for me it hit deep, right? And maybe it will for you too. I would love to hear in the comments your own perspective and whether this opened something new for you once you hear it, right? Either way, thank you for listening, and I pray that it gives you something to reflect on as you walk with the Father. So I've got two dogs from the same litter, or so I was told, Shaggy and Savannah. Supposedly, they were pit bull puppies. I remember driving with my daughter and my friend TK to Rehoboth to pick them up. The mama dog looked like a pit bull, and there was a room full of puppies. Don't judge me, okay? Most puppies look the same to me until they grow up and start developing their unique features. Anyway, I won't drag out that story of how I got conned into thinking I was buying pit bull puppies, but let's just keep that part between us, all right? So the truth is, I love my dogs, I love my babies, and I wouldn't trade them for anything, except maybe a brand new Toyota Hilux. Just kidding. just make it a crew cab with a turbo diesel engine though, okay? All right. So anyway, Shaggy was my pick, right? I saw him in that room full of puppies. I liked his big paws. He had big paws, nice big paws, and he was calm, low energy vibe. He didn't look that hairy or shaggy at first because I'm not really into hairy or shaggy dogs. But as he grew, he became, Shaggy. So he's the male. He grew a lot bigger than Savannah. He's fluffy. He's very food driven. Overall a good boy, right? Not nearly as stubborn as his sister. But if he knows correction is coming, he'll avoid me like the plague. Sometimes he won't come at all when I call. He's a little slower, more cautious, not as brave or as athletic, but a loving, loyal dog who would be content with just letting you pet him all day, right? Then there's Savannah, the complete opposite of her brother. In that room full of puppies, she picked us. While Shaggy slept, she was glued to my daughter Abby. She's smaller, high energy, stubborn and destructive. Sprinklers, shoes, clothes, you name it, gone. She jumps on people, and no matter how hard we try, we haven't trained that out of her yet. But she's tough, almost fearless. I've seen her hurt and she just keeps going. Decisive, intelligent, quick, athletic, and between the two of them a leader. In Jamaica we say she little but she talawa, meaning she's small but she has a lot of fight in her, right? But here's the key. No matter what, when I call, she comes.
Savannah! Hey girl. Hey.
Even when she knows correction is waiting, she runs straight to me. She faces her correction, and then she's right back at my side, tail wagging, trusting my love for her hasn't changed. Now, some of you may remember when 2 of our sheep were attacked. My sweet sheep Beatrice died, and another was hurt. It was Savannah who led me to Beatrice that night. Otherwise, I couldn't have found her. And though she's significantly smaller than Shaggy, when she was by Beatrice's side that night, the sheep's side that night, she fought Shaggy for some reason, almost as if she was protecting the sheep from Shaggy, or when he came near. Still, both dogs were involved in hurting the animals, and we had to give them up to the SPCA for a month, and the plan was to have them rehomed. We didn't think they were suitable farm dogs. Later, after some training and a new plan, we decided to bring them back, and we've been keeping them in the yard, in the inner fence, kind of away from the animals. We still let them go around the animals, but supervised, of course. But I remember the trainer recommended that we only keep Shaggy. The trainer had said that Savannah may be too much dog for us, right? Too much energy, too much, requirements. Logically, if we had made that decision, the choice would have been Shaggy. But we couldn't bear to separate them or lose her. So we brought them both back, and I'm glad we did, because Savannah has taught me something profound. Truthfully, before that, she frustrated me endlessly. The cost, the destruction, the stubbornness, but then came the deposit. One day, very recently, I was jogging in the yard like I normally do, and Shaggy stayed in the inner fence napping, while Savannah, she always comes out to run with me. So she'll run alongside me, then she'll wander off, hunting critters or doing other dog stuff. Whenever I don't see her, I'll just call her name and whistle, and almost always she comes. And that's when it hit me. Maybe this is what it means to be after Yah's heart. Not perfect obedience, not flawless behavior, but a heart that always hearkens to his voice. Come rain or shine, when I call, she comes. Once I saw it, it endeared me to her in a whole new way, right? The truth is, it had been happening all along. But that day, I finally recognized it. Watching her run back to me, tail wagging, I realized, even in her wandering, she stayed close enough to hear me. And again, question hit me. Is this what it means to be a man after Yah's own heart? In that moment, I could see David in Savannah. David, flawed, yet the only one called a man after Yah's own heart. When he sinned, even knowing correction was coming, he didn't run away. He ran to the Father. In 2 Samuel 24, 1-14, David conducted a prideful census of Israel that angered Yah. And Yah gave him 3 choices of judgment: famine, fleeing from his enemies, or pestilence. And David chose to fall into the hands of Yah rather than man's, because he trusted Yah's mercy. Just like Savannah runs to me, David always ran to Yah. There have been a few times I've taken walks on the plot with my dogs and a vehicle passes, and try as I might to train them not to give chase, they many times run off and chase that vehicle. And after they're done chasing the vehicle and are coming back, Shaggy will make a beeline straight for the house. He will not come to me. no matter how much I call, because he doesn't want to face the correction, right? Not Savannah. That dog will always come to me. She comes, faces the correction, and moments later is back by my side, faithful as always. In the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus as it's called, which is a book contained in a set of 14 books that were originally in the King James Version of the Bible, it says, "The mercy of man is toward his neighbor, but the mercy of the master is upon all flesh. He reproveth, and nurtureth, and teacheth, and bringeth again as a shepherd his flock. He hath mercy on them that receive discipline, and that diligently seek after his judgment." In Psalms 139, 23-24, David writes, "Search me, O El, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts, and see if an idolatrous way is in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." These verses are very familiar to many who grew up in the church, hearing these verses, singing them in hymns. But when you dig a bit deeper, you see exactly what David was asking. For example, the word try in Hebrew is bakan or bakan, and that word means to examine, try, prove, test, to make a trial. To try as in gold, right? So David was literally asking to be tried like gold in a furnace. So my mad, crazy, high energy, sometimes destructive, in some ways untrainable dog Savannah, who used to frustrate me more than anything else, because she comes when I call, no matter what, has endeared me to her in a way that this video can't really capture, to be honest with you. Since this realization, my love and appreciation for her has grown tremendously, to the point where even my correction has changed, right? And here's where the analogy breaks down. Savannah may capture David's heart, but me, I fall short of representing the father, way short. It took me too long to recognize her faithfulness. My correction is often mismeasured, mistimed, misapplied. Sometimes I punish both dogs, not even sure who's guilty. But the father's judgment is perfect, always carried out with love. So while I don't represent him well, I like to imagine that in the same way Savannah's faithfulness endears her to me, Yah looks at us with the same delight when we always return. The Messiah says, "Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." Yah doesn't delight in our stumbling. His throne is built on righteousness and justice. But I believe he delights in the one who, even after stumbling, still runs back to him. He chastens those he loves, and his discipline is always perfect love. My dog Savannah seems to know this instinctively. That's why she always comes back when I call. She never lost trust in me, even with my failures and shortcomings as a owner. Somehow, she still saw my love through the corrections, even when they were clumsy or poorly timed. Because of that, I love her now in a way that I didn't before, in spite of her being Savannah. And I like to think it's the same with our Father. He loves those who keep hearkening, even in spite of themselves. So, when I look at my life, am I Shaggy or am I Savannah? Do I come when my Father calls? Do I hearken to his voice no matter the cost? Do I trust his love even in the chastening? Do I seek out his judgments? Do I actually desire his correction? And through it all, do I rest in the knowledge that his love and mercy are perfectly applied? Here's what I've come to see. Maybe being a man or a woman after Yah's own heart isn't about being flawless. It's about being the one always returns. The one who hearkens to his call no matter what. The one who trusts his love even when corrected. Could that be a part of what it means to be after his heart? If you have made it this far, thank you for watching. I pray that this blessed you and gave you something to reflect on. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your perspectives mean a lot, and I'll read every single one of them. And as always, if you appreciate what we're doing, remember to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep creating together. Until next time, fam, much love and shalom.